Hi guys, welcome or welcome back to my channel. Welcome to the start of a very fun reading vlog. I'm so excited to do this. I've been wanting to do it for a while now, but just trying to find the right time to do it. And I feel like February is the perfect time because it's the month of love. Valentine's Day is coming up, so what better time than this month to go on some blind dates with some books. Your blind date is here. So I'm gonna open this one up. But I just don't really care about these people. I'm gonna be reading 3 books for this video. They are each a different genre. I have 1 romance, 1 thriller, and 1 literary fiction. I know for a fact that the romance is the pink book. I got these from 3 different Etsy shops and the pink one came first. So as soon as it came, I went to check which shop it came from. But the other 2 arrived a little later around the same time. So I opened them around the same time, but I didn't keep tabs on which book went with which packaging. So it'll be kind of a mystery which one is the thriller and which one is the literary fiction, which will make it even more of a blind date. So I feel like that makes it more fun. I am kind of nervous that I might get a book that I already own, but I feel like it's just the luck of the draw. I did include my Goodreads link when I bought these, but I feel like you never know. Just because a book is on my want to reads list on Goodreads doesn't necessarily mean that I don't already own it. So I'm hoping that it works out in my favor, but if I end up getting a book I already have, we'll just cross that bridge when we get to it. But I did want to start with the romance. With Valentine's Day coming up, I feel like now is the perfect time. And then I feel like later in the month, I might be kind of burnt out on romance. So it'll be good to switch it up and try the other 2 genres. So I'm gonna go ahead and unwrap our first book for the video and see which romance book I'm gonna be reading. It has all kind of cute things in here too. It has a lavender mud mask. Love that. I'm such a face mask person. All kinds of cute stickers. It even came with a little book review sheet to keep tabs on all my thoughts. That is so fun. Okay, I think I got everything out of it, so I am going to see what book we got. It's already kind of ripped open, but I promise I didn't peek at it already. Wait. Oh, okay. Okay, so I got Quicksilver by Callie Hart, which I thought was a fantasy, but I guess it's romantasy. So that's probably considered romance, I guess. I don't know. I was just expecting more of a rom-com, but I am excited about this. I just added this to my TBR actually on Goodreads. So I wonder if the shop owner saw that and was like, oh, since she just added it, she probably hasn't bought it yet, which is good thinking because I did not own this one. So I'm excited about that. And I am very much in my romantasy era right now. I'm currently in the middle of Onyx Storm and I just started Guitar last month, and I'm going into this one very blindly because I don't know anything in regards to like the characters, the synopsis, nothing. All I've heard about this is that it's like the next ACOTAR, the next Fourth Wing, so that really excites me. And I actually added this to my TBR on Goodreads. One day I was scrolling through and I kid you not, there was like 3 reviews in a row that was giving this book 5 stars. So that was enough to convince me. I don't take much convincing to want to read a book. If I see good reviews about it, I don't really need to know much about the plot or anything like that. So I am excited. I will say the cover is really something. It's given like Jon Snow with the butterfly emoji, so I'm kind of confused, but I am excited to dive in. This is a lengthy one. She is thick. She is over 600 pages, so this one is going to take me quite a while, but I do think it's also on KU, so I'm probably going to switch off reading it on my Kindle. That'll probably make it go by a little bit quicker. So I will keep you guys updated on my thoughts along the way as I read Quicksilver. Hi guys, update on Quicksilver because I have made a pretty good dent in the physical book. I'm on chapter 14, but I've also been switching between reading it physically and listening to the audiobook because it is available on Hoopla. I feel like it is helping making it go by faster because this book is a brick and it's so lengthy. The audiobook is like 20 hours long, but I kind of want to ditch the audio from here on out because I'm just not a fan of the narrators at all. It is really making me dislike the characters and dislike the book even more than I already was. I feel like I was kind of on the fence before, but the audiobook is definitely not helping. To start, I feel like I don't even have a good enough grasp of the storyline and what's going on to give a synopsis. But basically, we have our female main character, Saris. She is a human. Where she grew up and where she lives, it's not the best of conditions. She's very poor. She has to be a thief and a pickpocket to really get by and have what little that she does have. But she somehow has inadvertently opened this kind of pathway or portal that has transported her to this magical world where there are all kinds of magical creatures, most of which are fae. And this is where our male main character, and I'm assuming love interest, enters the chat, Kingfisher, which I can't get past his name. I just keep picturing the bird every time that I read it. Basically, in this magical world with fae, there's some kind of like war or conflict that's been going on for a while, and they want to use Saris as a weapon and as a tool to help them. But I really don't understand much more than that. I feel like there hasn't been a lot of world building. There hasn't been much explanation of the magic system, and I don't really understand what this story is leading up to or like where we're going. I just don't really have a good sense or grasp of much, and I'm also not a fan of the characters. Our female main character, Saris, especially, she is extremely whiny. She's very much a complainer, and normally I feel like that can be the case in fantasy female main characters, but usually they have some kind of like skill or quality or talent to counterbalance that and really make me enjoy them. But I feel like there aren't really any likable characteristics of Saris. I feel like she is like a pickpocket and a thief, and normally you would like empathize with someone in that kind of situation, but she almost just has like no remorse. Like, I'm trying to picture like an Aladdin type of character. Like, you really empathize with Aladdin and you like him even though he's a thief. Saris, I feel like she doesn't have that many redeemable qualities and she's just kind of insufferable. Kingfisher is a little bit better, but not by much. He is still very rude, but I kind of can see where he's coming from sometimes. Some of the things that he says are mean, but Saris kind of annoys me. So some of that I'm like, I don't know if it's just the audiobook and the narrators bringing that out and making me feel that way, because when I do switch to the physical book, the parts that I read, I'm like, wait, this isn't as bad as I thought. So I feel like that's why I need to maybe stick with the physical book from here on out to give this book its full shot at me enjoying it, because it does have a lot of hype and I do want to understand the hype and I do really want to love this. So we still have a ways to go. I'm kind of hoping that from here on out the story will pick up and I'll have a better understanding of like why the things that have been happening have happened. I'm hoping that things will get fleshed out and developed as far as like the world building and the magic system goes, and I'm hoping especially that I enjoy the characters a little bit more from here on out. So I will keep you guys posted. Hi guys, I've made it past the halfway mark now in Quicksilver. I feel like my last update was very all over the place, but I do feel like that's because the way we've been given information in this book has been very chaotic and very messy and kind of jumbled. So I didn't really have a good grasp at all of the plot in my last update. But now I feel like even though the way we've been given information has been kind of all over the place, I now have enough pieces to the puzzle to kind of put things together. And now I do feel like I have a better grasp of the story and I kind of get where we're going, what the point of everything is, and what's going on. So something did shift for me at about the 40% mark. I still have critiques of the book, but I feel like it is getting better. Something about it I'm just having a better time with and I'm a little more invested. I feel like since I do know where we're going now, that's helping. I will say I do feel like the world building is lacking and the magic system is just not explained well at all. There's just certain things that Saris somehow knows how to do with no explanation, no background, no training, nothing. She can just do these things and it just doesn't really make sense to me. I would love more context and backstory, and I feel like for it being such a long book, what more are we going to talk about if the magic system isn't talked about and the world building isn't there in these 600 plus pages? But like I said, now that I feel like I know where the story is going, it's more of a fun time and I'm enjoying myself more and just going along for the ride and having fun following these characters. The romance has also started to pick up, and while I don't dislike it, I feel like it's just a little bit random. Like, it doesn't seem like Saris and Fisher have a super strong connection to me. It just feels like a very separate thing. Like, it almost takes me out of the book. It doesn't feel like the fantasy and romance genres are blended together well into one romantasy. It kind of feels like a very different part to what's going on fantasy-wise in this book. The romance just feels so separate, and I don't know how to explain it, but it almost just doesn't blend in well with the rest of the story. But the romance parts are making me like Fisher's character more. Saris, I'm still finding her a little bit whiny and annoying, and I'm not the biggest fan, but I'm glad this book has turned around for me at least, and I'm enjoying it more. Whereas before it was like DNF territory, at least 1 or 2 stars. Now it's feeling like a solid 3-star read. So it has gotten better. I'm hoping that it progresses as I keep reading and I start to see the hype, but that's how I'm feeling. I'm glad my opinion has changed a little bit. Not to beat a dead horse and continually ride the Saris hate train, but something just happened that made me realize what specifically I don't like about her, aside from the fact that she's annoying. And it's the fact that she has no manners. Like, it just made me realize that she really never says please and thank you. She kind of has this beef with this other character who is a fairy, and it's actually a character who I like, and I totally get this fairy not liking Saris. Like, she's so valid in her feelings, and Saris did something kind of to wrong this fairy. Granted, it was accidental, but it was pretty major, and not once has Saris apologized for doing this thing, and she's just like not understanding why the fairy would be so upset about this. But now Saris is correcting her mistake. I'll give her that. She's trying to make up for what she did wrong, but now she's flipping it and trying to play the victim, and she's like, oh, this other character has not once like thanked me for correcting my mistake. She's so ungrateful. I'm like, girl, I'm team this fairy character. I know I'm being vague, but I don't want to spoil any details, even though they're kind of minor. It's just like one little example that came to light that kind of proves my point and shows why I don't really like Saris's character. So just thought I'd throw that in there because it was just really grinding my gears. I am not a fan of our main character, and she just at moments I'll think it's getting better, but then things like that will happen and I'm like, ugh, not a fan. Okay guys, I finally finished Quicksilver, and as y'all know, this book was quite the journey and I have some very strong opinions on it. It did take me quite a bit to get into. I found the beginning to be extremely cringy, and I just think the way we were given information was so messy, so I never knew what was going on. I never understood what the point of the story was, and I really felt like the world building and the magic system was lacking, not just at the beginning, but honestly throughout the entire book. And I think for how long this book is, like over 600 pages, I shouldn't be left feeling like there are things missing and I want more. I feel like everything I need to know should be given in the book. But that being said though, at about the 40% mark, this book did take a turn for me. Something happened. I think I just got enough pieces of the puzzle to work out what was going on, and it finally clicked, and I just started understanding the purpose of the book, where we were going, where we were headed, and I just became so much more invested. I had such a fun time following these characters. I really enjoyed all of them except for our female main character, Saris. As y'all know, she was just extremely whiny and annoying and rude, and I didn't feel like she had enough qualities or skills to make up for that and kind of justify why she was the way she was. But Fisher's character did take a turn for me, and I really enjoyed him by the end. I think the romance really helped his character for me, and then the side characters were just so much fun to follow along. So I found the story to be a really enjoyable time. Once I knew where we were going, it just took a bit to get there. So very mixed opinions on this book, but I think I have landed on a 3.75 star just because the majority of it did feel like a solid 4-star read to me, but it was tough to get into, so knocking it down a little bit. But if you had told me I was going to give this book a 3.75 star near the beginning, because I really thought I was about to DNF this book or give it like 1 or 2 stars if I didn't. So I'm glad that it took a turn for the better and I did end up enjoying it. I will say I hesitated hesitate to recommend it just because of how rough it was for me at the start. But I do think my opinion is an unpopular one, and I've seen this work for so many people. I've seen so many 5-star reviews. Do with that information what you will. Maybe look up other reviews, look a little more into it if you're kind of on the fence. But I would say if you were already really wanting to pick this up and it sounds like your thing, you probably will like it. Just know if you start reading it and you find it to be a little rough, I personally think it does get better and it's worth sticking out. Those are all my thoughts on Quicksilver. I am happy it ended up working out for me in the end, and I'm really excited for book 2. I don't know where the story is going to go from here, but I am looking forward to it, and I will definitely be reading it when it comes out. So I think it is time for me to go on another blind date with a book. Again, I don't remember which book is which genre, but one of these is a fiction book, one of these is a thriller. I really could go for either one. Like, I would be fine to read either genre right now. I'm just happy to kind of mix it up from my usual romance. So I'm trying to feel if there's one like speaking to me a little bit more. I think I'm gonna go with this one next. So I'm gonna start opening it up. We have lots of fun little things on the outside. I have a blue highlighter if I want to annotate. I have, this looks like a bookmark. It is super cute, little bookshelf themed bookmark. See, we also have tabs for annotating, which I love that everything is like themed in the same color too. I think that's everything. Okay, so I'm gonna open this one up. In an Instant by Suzanne Redfern. I've never even heard of this author before or seen this book, so that's good. I love getting something that I've never heard of. This is gonna be a very blind date. It's blurbed by Mary Kubica too. A powerful and poignant read. And it looks like it has a very wintry setting, which is very appropriate. One moment, 11 lives altered, and a truth only she can see. Life is over in an instant for 16-year-old Finn Miller when a devastating car accident tumbles her and 10 others over the side of a mountain. Suspended between worlds, she watches helplessly as those she loves struggle to survive. Impossible choices are made, decisions that leave the survivors tormented with grief and regret. Unable to let go, Finn keeps vigil as they struggle to reclaim their shattered lives. Okay, so it sounds like it's following the aftermath of a car accident with this group of people. It sounds kind of sad, but I can't tell if it's like a thriller or not. It seems like it might be, but it also could be more just like general fiction depending on what it's gonna focus on. Cool, I'm excited. I don't even know what genre this is, but I'm very intrigued. Since I've never heard of this book, never heard of this author, it's gonna be an extra blind date and I'm excited for it. So I'm gonna go ahead and jump into this one, start reading, and I will keep you guys posted on what I think. I've made a good start to In an Instant, and I wasn't sure if this was going to be the thriller or the literary fiction. I feel like based on reading the back, I was leaning more towards thriller, but after starting to read it, I do think it is the lit fic because it reads more as like a family drama with a little bit of magical realism in it as well. And to give you guys a synopsis, we have our main character Finn, and she and her family and some of their family friends are all loaded up in this camper. They're going to the mountains for the weekend to stay in this cabin and go skiing, and right after they get there, they end up getting in a horrible accident in the camper. Everyone survives with the exception of our main character Finn, and from there we're following the aftermath of the accident through her perspective. She's kind of like this spirit and this all-knowing presence, and we get everyone's perspectives through her eyes, and we kind of see all these different relationship dynamics, what's going on in the family. We get some secrets, we get some drama, and it is so interesting. I'm already loving it so much. The writing style hooked me right away. It's very fast, very easy to read. All of the chapters are super short, like 1-2 pages max for the most part, so it's really hard to put down because I keep wanting to read just one more chapter, and I keep saying that over and over, but I'm loving it so much so far. Already invested in the characters, already invested in the story and what's going to happen. Definitely some characters I'm rooting for more than others based on things that we've learned, but I just think it is so good so far. Definitely very heartbreaking and emotional and sad. I have a strong suspicion this book is gonna make me cry. Also more graphic than I was expecting. Like, the accident scene went into more detail than I would have have thought, but I still think it is so well done. It's definitely setting the scene very well to put into perspective how high the stakes are and how bad things really are for this family. I'm just so happy that I'm enjoying this so much because this is exactly what I wanted out of this video, out of going on these blind dates with books. I really wanted to find a book that I'd never heard of before, I'd never heard anyone talking about, and just go in blind, form my own opinion, and hopefully love a book enough to recommend to you guys and maybe be the first person that y'all have heard talk about this book. So I'm feeling like that's going to be the case. I know we have a ways to go, but it's just how I'm feeling already. So I will keep you guys posted along the way as I keep reading. Around the 100-page mark, this book took me by surprise because something started happening that I thought wouldn't happen until the end. I kind of thought the whole book was going to lead up to this thing happening. So now it is taking a different direction, but I'm kind of happy with the way things are going. I definitely feel very strongly at this point about which characters I like and which characters I don't like. But this book kind of reminds us that there's good and bad in everyone, and it could change for anyone depending on the circumstances we find ourselves in. And this quote perfectly says that. As I watch her cry, I wonder about this, about whether our humanity is determined more by circumstance than conscience, and if any of us, if backed into a corner, can change. I saw it that day, none of them turning out to be the people they believe themselves to be. Hello guys, yesterday I did finish in an instant and I really did love this book a lot. It was a very touching story. I was very invested in it. I was very connected to the characters. There were moments, especially at the beginning, where I thought this could be a 5-star read. It definitely had that potential, but I think I just had a few minor critiques as the book went on. I definitely was a little bit less invested and connected towards the end and maybe the whole second half of the book. It wasn't really anything specific that happened. I think it was more so the characters that I didn't like. I just feel like the way they handled certain situations and their reactions to certain things just were not realistic at all. And this book does touch on the topic of grief very heavily, so I know everyone grieves differently, but I don't know, just the way certain people were grieving in here felt extremely unrealistic. And there were a few characters in particular where I really wanted them to have this like redemption arc, and I thought at the end they would kind of have like this aha moment of them realizing that they maybe shouldn't have been acting the way they were acting, and I feel like we never really got that. And then looking back, I feel like there were a few moments throughout, just little things, which they weren't little things, they were kind of pivotal to the story and to moving the plot along, and I felt like they were brushed over super quickly. I would have loved for there to be more detail and for those moments to be fleshed out. I feel like the book could have been maybe like 50 pages longer if it had gone into more detail in certain parts. I would have been that much more connected and that much more invested, but I did really love it for what it was. I thought it did the narration aspect super well, with our main character not being alive anymore and still telling this whole story. I feel like that could have easily like cringed me out or been cheesy or done in a way that just was sort of insensitive, but it was done extremely well in here, and I loved the narration style. I thought it told the story so well, and I really loved our main character, Finn. So very unique. I really love this one, would recommend it. Definitely a hidden gem. I'm so happy that I found this book and it really worked for me, and I feel like a lot of people will love it. Definitely check trigger warnings because it is a very heavy subject matter, but I thought it was done very, very well. For my rating, like I said, this book did have 5-star potential, and I did feel that at certain moments. There were moments that I really connected with and really enjoyed, but I think overall it's more of a 4-star read. I really enjoyed it, would highly recommend it, but I had critiques of it, and I think the last half of the book was not as strong as the first half, and it kind of lost me at certain points. Definitely some things that I wish were done a little bit differently involving certain characters, but overall a really touching, really emotional story that I enjoyed reading. It read super easily, super quickly, despite it being a heavier subject matter. I thought it was handled very well, and I would highly recommend this one. You're definitely going to see it in some recommendation videos in the future. So it is now time to open my third and final blind date. And you want to know what's funny, guys? My last two, I wasn't sure which book was which genre, but it has a little note on the front that I just noticed. It says, "Your blind date is here." But then if you flip it around, it says thriller, 3.8 on Goodreads, suspense, So I literally could have known that this was the thriller had I just turned the little card around, but just noticed that. So we're gonna be ending this one off with our thriller. And this one has all kinds of fun goodies on the outside. It looks like we have a pin and a highlighter for annotating. And then we have paper clip, hot chocolate mix, I love that. We got some tabs, super cool little magnetic bookmark. I like that, I've never seen one like that. More paper clips, more stickers, bookmark. Oh, I love the colors of this one. We have a little reading list, and you can write the books you read, the date, the star rating. Those are so fun. And more tabs. Love that. I definitely want to get more into annotating, and now I feel like I am all set with supplies. That one had so much extra stuff on it, which I love. It makes it so fun to open. Let's see what our thriller is. So far, we've been pretty lucky with not getting a book that I already own, so hopefully that will be the case with this book as well. I don't own a ton of thrillers, so it should be good. Ooh, there's even eye mask in here. Love that. Gosh, there's all kinds of stuff. Oh, okay. The Last Thing He Told Me by Laura Dave. This has been on my TBR for so long. I feel like this was one of the OG Book Talk books. I am definitely one of the last people to read this, but I've seen it everywhere, and I know it just got adapted into a show. I'm excited for this one. I've heard really good reviews for it. I feel like it's very hyped. So many people love it. I just haven't made time to read it yet, so I'm really excited to get into this one, see what I think. I don't really know what it's about. I think our main character's husband goes missing, and that's really all I know, but I will let you guys know how I feel about this one. I am so excited to get into it. I've seen and heard about this book for so long, and I'm really excited to finally get it off my TBR. Hi guys, I wanted to give an update because I have just been reading and usually I stop myself and give an update once I have like a few thoughts and opinions that I feel like I need to share before I forget. And I've just kind of been reading and like waiting for some opinions to form or for me to have some strong thoughts to share with you guys. And that hasn't really happened yet. I'm not liking this book, but I also don't think I'm liking it yet either. And what I thought this book was about is pretty much accurate. We have our main character Hannah and her husband Owen, who she's been married to for about a year, so not too long. He has disappeared, and he also has a daughter named Bailey, who she is a stepmother to. At the start of the book, she gets a knock on the door. It's this young girl who says she got this note from her husband Owen to pass along to Hannah, and the note says protect her. So it follows things from there. She realizes her husband has disappeared, and I do like our main character. I like that she is proactive. She's kind of taking things into her own hands to try and figure out what's going on, because I feel like if I was in that situation, that would be me. I would be trying to figure things out for myself too and not waiting around. But at the same time, she also feels kind of bland and one note. Like there's not really much to her personality. Like she does have an interesting, unique job, but I feel like the majority of her personality is in relation to her husband. And I don't know, it just is feeling a little bit flat. But I'm over halfway through now and I'm not really getting the hype, so I'm assuming this book has like a crazy shocking ending because it is so widely beloved. So I'm just like holding out for that. But so far I feel like based on what we've learned, it's kind of taken a logical progression of events and kind of gone the way I thought it would. So I don't know. I'm hoping the ending takes me by surprise, but so far it's just been a bit middle of the road. Like I don't really have strong opinions, and honestly I feel like I'd rather have a strong negative opinion about a book and have a lot to say on it than just really feel nothing towards it. Like I'm just not super invested. It's not boring me, it's keeping me engaged and interested the whole time, but I just don't really care about these people. I don't really care about what they're doing and what's going on. So yeah, it's not going great, but it's not going horribly either. I finished the last thing he told me. If you hear purring, my cat is right on my lap, so he might make an appearance, but I wanted to share my final thoughts. I know I didn't update you guys much while I was reading because I really didn't have too many thoughts one way or the other on this book. I'm so surprised that it gets the hype that it has because I just found it to be extremely middle of the road. And I think when I updated you guys, I was right past the halfway mark and I was hoping that the ending would give me something. I was expecting it to be this like crazy shocking reveal or twist, and the beginning and the middle were really giving nothing. So I was expecting a lot out of the ending, and to me the ending just was very meh, like the rest of the book. I think I am gonna give this book 3 stars though. I didn't like it, but I did not like it either. I found our main character to be pretty bland, but I did also like some of the actions that she took. She really was very proactive, took matters into her own hands to try and figure things out, and that's what I would do in that situation, so I could put myself in her shoes a little bit. I also thought this book had really good themes of family, so there were things I liked about it and there were moments I enjoyed, and I never really thought it was like boring or slow or dragged. It was a quick pace the whole time and it did keep my interest, and I did want to know what was going to happen, but it still felt very surface level for the majority of it. I was never like deeply invested in anything going on. I think I just found the plot to be a little bit simplistic and something was just missing for me personally. It does really surprise me that this book has the hype that it does because I don't think I would ever care to recommend it to anyone. I'm probably going to unhaul this at some point. It just didn't really do anything for me, but again, there were moments I enjoyed and I didn't think it was a bad book, so a very middle of the road average 3-star rating feels fitting for this. So with that, I am going to close out this video. I hope you guys enjoyed. I had so much fun going on these blind dates with books. I would love to do this again sometime, so if you enjoyed and would like me to go on more blind dates with books, be sure to give this video a thumbs up. Make sure you are subscribed to my channel so that you don't miss out on more book content from me. Let me know down below if you've read any of the books that I read in this video and what your thoughts are on them. I would love to chat with you guys. Thank you guys again so much for watching, and I will see you so soon in my next video. Bye guys.